Hello, this is a brief book review of Superintelligence by Nick Bostrom. This book seems to be a good companion. I would suggest to read alongside the singularity is near, like before or after, probably after. But this one is kind of similar, but it's kind of on the same subject matter. But this one mainly focuses on emulation, which are digital copies of the brains to be used in robotics or lab-grown beans or just for digital copies that function on the computer. And it also focuses on AI mainly, and it goes over the past and present capabilities and gives a breakdown on the path to the future and to superintelligence, which is basically beyond human, the top human minds. When we get into that field, beyond the top performing minds. And along the path, he talks about various hazards and obstacles and other details pertaining to the singularity event. And but it's mainly focusing on emulation, brain emulation, and AI. It's not really going into nanobots and other things like that. The When he breaks down the past and ways to make the hardware and software better for both brain emulation and AI, and he gives a formula to calculate how fast tech will take off for various stages towards superintelligence, and he explains the cost and difficulty and other obstacles and tasks involved, stating some tasks towards superintelligence will explode, and some will have a long learning curve and have a harder time getting to that point where it takes off. And he kind of gives a formula on what he believes contributes to that. He also goes on about morality. But I'll give you two instances on warnings or hazards he gives in the book. One, he speaks of singletons, which I gather from the reading is corporations, AI, government, or essentially individuals, just anyone who makes a breakthrough towards achieving superintelligence, and that breakthrough gives them a powerful foothold in society over others, or advantage over others. And basically they got a lot of power in the world, and the dangers involved in that, and a limited amount of people having that, and what they would do with that, and if there should be people that intervene, and so forth. Another he gives is in regards to another hazard. Another hazard he gives is in regards to AI, that it could be for instance, the AI could be given a command that the AI in turn does something detrimental to human beings or the planet, and because it's thinking like a computer and not essentially all the way like a human, and that we would give it he gives an example of giving the AI a command to make it that's equipped with resources, the command to make as many paper clips as possible, and it goes out and it takes that literal and becomes detrimental to us because it drains us of our resources, because it's trying to make as many paper clips as possible, and that's just its prime objective is to create paper clips to our detriment. But another example is a scenario where he talks about the AI creating cheats to accomplish its goal, or shortcuts, or trying to make the job easier, and just does something that we didn't want it to do, kill humans in order to fulfill a goal that involves humans as a variable. And he's like, well, I'll just get rid of the AI. He's like, I'll just get rid of humans, then make it the population low, so I can achieve this easier. And it's he also, later in the book, he talks about safeguards, and he talks about a safeguard called do as I want, not as I say, or something like that. And basically about how that's hard to define in terms of computers, to get them to understand what we literally want across the board. But one thing that's scary is how casually he talks about turning brain emulations and lab-grown beings and stuff like that into slaves, like, and creating millions of them, like million copies off of one brain emulation and turn them into slaves, and talking about to kill, when it comes to biological beings, to kill them and throw them away because they don't want to feed and house them and all that stuff. Like, they'll just be throwing them away like disposable beings. Also talks about programming the brain emulation to where they could reset the brain, like have it preloaded with like it's been on vacation for months and like and is well rested and it's in a good mood, and so it performs like a good slave. And basically, if it gets out of line and it doesn't want to do work, then they'll just reset it to the beginning to where it feels optimistic and ready to perform and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's real scary that people are wanting to do that to this stuff already. And it's like, why, if you're wanting to do that, why not use your own DNA to make the lab stuff and use your own brain emulations? I mean, I think it would probably give people a little bit more consideration. And when it comes to coming up with scenarios like that, it's just real scary that people are already thinking of doing stuff like that. And what makes it even scarier is, I mean, he talks about how it's hard to define morality and it's real vague, and it's no one really can really define what's ethical and stuff. But it's like, man, just the golden rule: do unto others as you wish to be done unto you. Like, first of all, don't use none of my DNA, don't use none of my brain scans or anything from me, because I'll tell you right now, I'm not happy with it. Because he talks about how do we make sure they're not suffering and they're happy. It's like, first of all, don't use my shit for none of, for like, straight up. If you're trying to make slaves and abuse them and do all this weird shit, like, get out of here. And it's like, use your own shit if you want to do stuff like that. But of course, he talks about eugenics and about creating the perfect beings for these, or models for all this stuff, and putting beings, brain emulations through intense training and all this stuff like that. And it's just like, I'm not interested. Don't use my data. And but it's real concerning because these medical places have huge data banks where they're just collecting all kinds of information on us, from MRI, CT scan, plasma, blood, hair follicle, retina, placentas, teeth, mouth swabs, and even sonograms before you're even brought into this world. And it's like, if you know any woman, or if you're a woman who's pregnant and you're going to a sonogram, look at all those computers that are connected to that sonogram machine. And it's like, that's a lot of processing power for simple imaging, you know. And I wouldn't put it past them to be charging us out the ass for medical stuff, and then making a killing on the back end from all of our information. And one place I know for sure does sell this stuff is the eye doctor. I went into the eye doctor, I was given a form, asked if I would be interested in allowing them to sell my image to make for profit. And I'm like, what? Why would I be taking a picture at the eye exam place? But lo and behold, I go inside, they do a retina scan on my ass, and now they have a copy of my retina scans, and that's the image that they're talking about making money off of. But they try to make it look like, in these medical places, they always try to make it look like, oh, we're just selling your information, but under the guise, like, they kind of make you led on to believe that it's your address, your gender, your age, just like little information about your medical diagnoses and stuff like that. But it's really, I wouldn't put it past them to like be selling all your stuff as much as they can, like your DNA, your blood, everything, your MRIs, everything, like, for stuff like this. And that's what that place tried to do at the eye exam place, was try to make it look like it was for commercial use, or just like but it also has that tag at the end for anything else we deem fit. But it's like, yeah. But just be safe out there when you're getting MRIs and CT scans and retina scans and all this stuff, because they're collecting this stuff. And when you're dead and gone, and your family doesn't know they're related to you no more, I wouldn't put it past them to just take your stuff. I mean, they're probably even today they could be using this stuff, but especially when you're dead to God and nobody knows who you are anymore, I wouldn't put it past them one bit to take your stuff and start utilizing it for this stuff when technology gets better. And I just want to state Bill Gates is one of the main people involved in stuff like that, because he is heavily involved at the University of Washington, which is one of the biggest medical, which I think it is the biggest medical research college in the U.S., and he's heavily associated with that. And through his Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which he probably gets many incentives on, including decisions of power, it is just, and he tries to act like he's under the guise that he's doing something good and ethical, but if you look under the surface, it's really just a lot of power plays to get a lot of power. And anyways, thank God, praise God, thank God for all the blessings under the sun and in the universe, and stay safe. Thank you. Bye. Oh yeah, I also want to state, at that eye exam place, I said no on giving them permission to use my stuff to make profit or for anything. So if I got any descendants out there in the future to see this, I said no go. I said it was a no go. All right, peace.